Good morning, everybody. Mr. Spottleson here. It is Monday morning. I hope that you're watching this video on Monday as well. I hope that you had a great weekend and were able to get outside and enjoy some of this nice weather that we had. Just one really announcement thing. Okay, we do have a quiz that you can take as early as Wednesday, and it'll be due by 11:59 on Thursday. Okay, the reason that things are due on Thursday today is because Friday would have been a day off of school. So we're going to treat it like a day off of school here, okay, and make sure everything's due and finished up for the week by Thursday. Okay. It's very important that you listen to the next part of this video because I'm going to give a little bit of the recap of the week and kind of help you out a little bit and guide you through it. As always, if you have questions, please, I know there are people out there that do. Make sure you are asking them. You can ask me on Remind. I get on Canvas conferences. You can request a Canvas conference from me, whatever it might be. I'm just sitting here at home too, okay? So I'm more than glad to help you. You just got to ask, okay? As far as the schedule for this week, first thing we want to do is watch this video, okay, on Monday. All right, we're going to watch this video. It's going to be a Chapter 9 review video. Couple little things might seem a little bit different, but for the most part, it should be all very familiar. Some of it applies some of it applies things that we learned before we, started online learning. So I know you'll catch on, and if you have questions, I'll cover it on Wednesday, and you're welcome to ask, and I can help you. Okay. While I'm doing this video today, I'd really appreciate it if you did the problems with me. Okay, on a separate piece of paper, wrote down what I wrote down and such. And then so you don't have to worry about it tomorrow, I would suggest working on the Chapter 9 review guide today. All right, and it'll be on there posted to Canvas for you to work on. As far as Tuesday, okay, you need to complete the assignment for Chapter 9. Okay, once you're done, submit a picture of it like we have been doing. It hasn't seemed to be a problem for anybody. Okay, at least it wasn't last week. So that'll be Tuesday. Make sure we get that submitted to me by Tuesday night, which is tomorrow night at 11:59 p.m. Okay. Wednesday, I'll put another video on. This video will just kind of go over the answers from the review guide. It will maybe do anything else I need you to get ready for the quiz. Basically, it'll be a final preparation for your quiz. And I will also post the quiz with that video. Now, here's the thing. I keep saying quiz, and yes, it's going to be a quiz. I'm going to grade it like a quiz. Okay, but it's a take-home quiz. All right, you're allowed to use your notes. If you want to watch the videos, you can watch the videos and take it. Okay, I'm not going to we're not going to treat it like a normal quiz. It's a take-home quiz. It's a short take-home quiz. That's all we're trying to do here. Okay, I'm not trying to be tricky. As far as Thursday, there's nothing new for math. You just have to submit the take-home quiz by 11:59. If you don't get it to me by 11:59, then it's late, and you're going to be penalized for that accordingly. All right, and then like I said earlier in the video, Friday there was no school, so we're going to treat it like there's no school because we've got Good Friday. Okay, so I hope that all of that makes sense. And again, if you're confused with something, all you have to do is ask. All right. Okay, so today we are going to be talking about just kind of reviewing and recapping some of the things that we've done the 2 weeks that we've been doing this online learning stuff. Like I said before, I'd like if you had a piece of paper out to keep some notes with me and follow along with me as we go. But it should be pretty straightforward. All right. First question here. Again, we've got 10 questions I'm going to run through. And as always, when I do questions, I'm not tricky. Okay, these are going to be very similar to the ones on the quiz, without a doubt. Okay, 1, what type of correlation is shown by the scatter plot? Okay, again, we had 3 types of correlations. We had a positive, we had a negative, and we had a no correlation. We did not have anything with a constant, so I know it's not C. Okay, if I look at the points here, it seems like they're gradually going up. Okay, they have a pattern, which means there's definitely not no correlation. And then they're going up, all right? And when they're going up like this, it's not negative. We know that our correlation is going to be positive. So the first question there, our answer is going to be A. All right, which gives the line of best fit? Okay, so remember what I've said in all the other videos. This f of x is just a fancy way of saying y. Okay, f of x is the same as or equal to y. Don't forget that. Don't get confused by that when you see those f of x's. I think they put them in there just to confuse you, really. So as we look at this here, we need to give the line of best fit. So we need an equation for this line. Okay, and we're going to do that by finding the y-intercept first. Well, if I connect this line and I go straight down, where does it look like the y-intercept hits at? Well, it's definitely going to be higher than 0 because 0 is right here. And it's not, halfway is about right. It's a little bit more than, I don't know. Well, let's look at our answer choices. If I go to my answer choices, this one says that the y-intercept is 0, so I know it's not A. This one also says that it's 0, so I know it's not B. This one says it's 400's the y-intercept. Well, 400's all the way up here, so it definitely can't be C. I just used process of elimination and said, well, it's got to be around 150, so I know that my answer is going to be D. Okay, that's just process of elimination we can use there. All right, let's check out 3. What does the slope mean? Okay. All right, let's look at this now. First thing we need to do is find the slope. Okay, so if I put the mark on there, all right, we've got about, we're at 205. And then if I go over to here and put a mark at 10 in there, I'm about right there. Okay, now if I go from 200, now we need to find our rise over run of those 2 points. Okay. My rise in this case from this point up to the top up there is going to go from 200 to 400, which is going to be a rise of 200. Now my run from this point to this point is from 5 to 10, so my run is going to be 5. Now 200 divided by 5 is going to be 40, which means my slope is 40. Now, that immediately eliminates A and B because these say that the slope is 200. So now we know it's either C or D. So the slope of 40 means 40 miles per every hour, or the slope of 40 means they drove 40 miles. Well, think about it like this. If they drove, if we look at this line here, it goes much farther than 40 miles. This means that they drove 40 miles the entire trip. That's not true. Okay. But when we think 40, if I put, this is like 40 over 1. Okay. They drove 40 miles per 1 hour. I know that my answer is going to be C here. Okay. Good. Moving on. Which data table is described by the linear function f of x? Remember, f of x is just a fancy way of saying y. Y equals 0.5x. So we need to look at these tables now and find which one of these tables matches this equation. Well, there's a lot of different ways we can do this. The way that I'm going to tell you we're going to do it is we're going to get our calculators, any calculator that you have. If you have to use your laptop calculator, that's fine. And I want to plug x values into this equation and see which one of them give me the right y value. So let's look at this one first. Let's look at A. If I plug that x value in, which is 1, and I do 0 in my calculator, 0.5, because that's what So I'm plugging it in up here. So 0.5. Ooh, I didn't want that. Uh-oh. I'm going crazy. Okay, so we take 0.5, which is our equation, times this x value, which is 1. What do I get? Well, 0.5 times 1. I'm going to get 0.5. Well, is that what that y value is? No. Is that what that y value is? No. Is that what that y? No, it was positive 0.5, not negative, so it can't be D. Again, by process of elimination, by just testing the points, I got that my answer was B. Okay? And you could test it with them all. 2 times 0.5. So if I do 0.5 times 2, I'm going to get 1. Oh, that matches there. And if I do 0.5 times 3, I'm going to get 1.5, which is y there. Okay? So we can see how that matches up. Good. Moving on. All right. These are the hardest questions on the quiz, and I've made them so that we can do it very easily. Okay. On the quiz, you're gonna have, okay, so this is f of x. Okay, so what you're gonna have is you're gonna have an f of x right here, and it's gonna say the slope, and it's gonna have the y-intercept. All right. And then you're going to have g of x, and I'm going to have this all written on the quiz already for you. And it's going to say slope and y-intercept. Okay. Now, as we do this, okay, for f of x equals 2x minus 3. So what's my slope in this equation? Well, it's y equals mx plus b. Here's my slope, which is the m value, which is 2. And then my y-intercept in this case is going to be the b value. So y equals mx plus b. In this case, it's minus, so minus or negative 3. There's my slope and y-intercept. Okay. For g of x, all right, the first thing I want you to look for is for the y-intercept down here. Whichever one is attached with 0, because if you remember, a y-intercept is always 0 and then a number. In this case here, because g of x is our table, we've got 0, 5. That means that my y-intercept is going to be 5. Now, this is the part that's going to trick people, okay? And this is why I hate that we're on remote learning, because I could very easily make this easy for us. But how did we find slope with just points? Okay, I don't think there's many people that remember. I hope that this rings a bell when I write it down. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, you're going to have to use this equation with these 2 points. Okay, yeah, I know. All right, it stinks. But it's not that bad. Okay, you've got 0, 5, and 1. So let's go ahead, and again, you should be marking down exactly what I'm marking down. Let's go ahead and mark out these 2 points. All right. So this is going to be my y1. This is going to be my x1. This is going to be my x2. That'll be my y2. Goes right into my equation. y2 was 7. y1 was 5 over x1. All right, I'm sorry, x2 is 1. x1 is 0. 7 minus 5 is 2. 1 minus 0 is 1. We get 2 divided by 1, which means a slope of 2. Now, you have to go and compare now. Okay? Does g, so compare the slope and y-intercept. So we've listed our slope and y-intercepts here. So this is what we're focused on now. We've done all the hard work. G has a larger slope and y-intercept. Well, G, 2, 2. Okay, can't be A because they have the same. F has a larger slope. Well, nope, they're the same. They have the same y-intercept. Well, y-intercept is negative 3, y-intercept is 5. Nope, can't be D. They have the same slope but different y-intercepts. Same slope, Y-intercepts are different. Our answer is C. Okay, I promise we will do another one like that on our next video. Okay, if you have questions, please ask. A taxi charges $3 for the first mile and then 0.75 for each mile. After that, which rule gives us the cost of X miles? Well, we're going to do Y equals the flat rate, no matter what you pay for 1 mile, is 3. You're going to pay 3. Okay? Now, the other part to this is let me erase this for a second, actually. You pay your $3 for the first mile. Then, every mile after that. So, we have the plus 0.075, but we have to put a variable of X here because every mile that I drive, I have to multiply. If I drive 40 miles in this taxi, they're going to take 0.75 times the 40 miles so that they do it every single time, and I pay 75 cents for each mile that I drive. So which one of these matches? Well, we didn't multiply the 3. This has a 3 and a 3. I know that's not right. 3 plus 0.75x. I know my answer is C. Okay. Which of these functions is linear? Well, we know that something is not linear if it has an exponent. A has an exponent and C has an exponent, so it can't be A or C. Okay. F of x equals 4x. Well, I don't know. No. Well, let's think here for a second. If I look at this 4x, but a lot of people are going to say, but Mr. Spottelson, there's nothing after this. There usually has to be something after this. Well, no. This is just meaning if they don't put anything after it, this is just saying that it's 4x plus 0, and there's no reason to put plus 0. Okay, so that one could work. All right, and then f of x equals 6 divided by x. Ooh. Now, if you remember on our homework, this was a red flag right here. You cannot have the x in the bottom, meaning that it can't be D. B ends up being our answer. Okay? All right, we got 3 more to go. All right, identify the rule for the linear function. Okay? Ooh. All right. Let's take a look here for a second. First thing we should probably do is we need to find the y-intercept. Well, where does it cross the y-axis at? Well, it crosses right here, which looks like it's at 1, 2. Yep, it's at 2. Okay, so in this case, I know my y-intercept is going to be 2. We need our slope now. Now, the slope can be difficult, but you know what? I usually have another trick, okay? Let's look for a second. We should be able to rule all of these out right away. None of these have a y-intercept of 2 except B. But I like to be sure, okay? So I still want to find the slope here. Now, you're going to look for what I call perfect points, and it's where the line that is very small. I wonder if we can let's mess around with this a little bit here. Let's do a couple things here. I'm sorry. I don't like how this is looking. All right. That looks better. Okay. Again, we said that our y-intercept was at 2. We need a slope now. And my slope, we need what I call perfect points. And that's where the line perfectly crosses through. So I have one here, and then I have one right here. Those are 2 perfect points, are what we call them. Okay. And we need a rise over run. So we need a rise on the top. Well, I go from the left to right. I go down 1, 2, 3. I go down 3, which is minus 3. And then I go over 1. That simplifies down to -3 because -3 divided by 1 is just -3. And it confirms that my slope or my equation is going to be -3x because of y equals mx plus b. I get my m value of -3 plus my y-intercept, which is 2. The only answer that makes sense for is B. Okay? All right. Compare the graph of f of x below and the function g of x equals 2x plus 3. So again, I'm going to do exactly what I said before on the quiz, okay? I'm going to have f of x. F of x is the graph, okay? And you're going to have to find the slope and y-intercept. I'm going to try to zoom in on this one so it makes it easier for us to see. Okay, and then for g of x, which is the graph, g of x, which is the equation, you're going to need the slope and the y-intercept. Okay. And again, I'll have that written down on your paper, on your quiz for you, so you know what to do here. Okay. All right. We need to compare the graph of f of x. So let's find the slope of the graph and the y-intercept. Well, where does it cross the y-intercept at? Right there, which is at 3. So I know my y-intercept is 3. And then we look for a perfect point. So I know I have a perfect point there. Where else do I have one? There's not one there. Oh, there's one right there, though. Okay. So for my slope, again, it's always a fraction. I need rise over run. I go up 1. So my rise is 1. And I go over 1, 2. Slope is half. Okay. For g of x, it says that the function g of x is right here. That's 2x plus 3. We need to find my slope. Well, y equals mx. M is my slope, which is 2. And then, I don't know why I put it this bad of a line. And then y equals mx plus b. B is my y-intercept, which is 3. Okay. Now it says select all that apply. Okay. So we go through each one. Does g have a greater slope? Well, here's g is 2. F of x is a half. Yeah. So a is 1. Does f have a greater slope? Well, if g had 1, f can't. So it can't be b. Do they have the same slope? Nope. One's a half, one's 2. So can't be c. Okay. All right. And then we keep using process of elimination. Does g have a greater y-intercept? Well, g's y-intercept is 3. F of it, nope, they don't have greater. Does f has a greater? Nope, they're the same. Only answer we have is f because they have the same y-intercept. Okay. And here's our last question of the day. Okay. A salesperson receives a monthly salary of $300 plus 10% of their total sales for the month. Find a rule for the linear function that describes her monthly salary. Use it to determine her salary if her total sales for March are $15,000. Okay. Now, remember what I talked about earlier. Okay. We're going to have y equals. What is the flat rate that this salesperson is going to make if they sell nothing or if they sell $1 million? They're going to make 300 no matter what. Okay. So I like to put 300 first. But they then make 10% of their sales. And here's where they try to trick you on this problem, okay? They put 10%. So a lot of you like to put 10x. That does not work. That is no good, okay? It is 10%. Does anyone remember, or again, I wish we were there at school, we could talk about this more. 10%, we have to put that as a decimal, which 10% as a decimal is 0.10. And then that's of the total sales, so we multiply her total sales, which is x. Okay? And then I go to plug this in, y equals, I have my 300 plus the 0.10 times her total sales for that month were $15,000. Once we plug that in, we can go right to our calculator and plug in exactly what we have. 300 plus 0.10 all times 15,000. When I hit equals, and you should hit equals as well, you're going to see that we get $1,018. Okay. All right. So we've just went through the 10 questions. Okay. These 10 questions I'm going to put on Canvas. Your assignment for these are 10 identical questions, just I've changed the numbers around a little bit. So please use this video, use your answers that you just wrote down in order to complete this assignment. Okay, just a couple reminders. I'm always available for questions via Remind, via email, via whatever you need to do to get a hold of me. Okay. This assignment that I'm posting with this video is due at 11:59 on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday I will post the take-home quiz. Okay, and remember the take-home quiz, you can use any notes, videos, homework assignments. So it's very important that you've made it to this part of the video and are understanding how this is going to work. Okay? Again, any questions, please ask. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.